This is Marcia. Welcome back to Markets of Sunshine. And today we're going to be adding some embroidery stitches to a mug rug. So this is the continuation of my beginner series for sewing and hand stitching and learning how to do embroidery stitches and how to make a cute little simple mug rug. So this is a beautiful gift that anybody can use any time of the year. So if you would like to join me in this series, then you're more than welcome. And what you'll need to get started is any size quilt block that you already have made, or if you want to make one up. What I've done here is I had a lot of quilt blocks that we had made up. These were made up, oh my goodness, at least 10 years ago, maybe even probably approximately 10-12 years ago. So we just took right here, let me measure this out real quick. Okay, so these were probably 3.5 by 3.5 blocks, little squares. And so then we just stitched them together, and my daughter actually did this. She was making a quilt. And so she started off with the little blocks, and she picked out some colors and had it all, put together, and then life got in the way, and so I came across these the other day. I really had completely forgotten all about it, and so I said, well, you know what, I'm making these mug rugs, and these would be the perfect size to make a mug rug. So I got them out, and then I said, okay, let's dress these up a little bit. And so I had some appliques that I had cut out from fabric. Let me turn my fan on. So I'm in Florida, and I'm on the East Coast, and if you've been watching the weather, I don't know where you're at and if they show the weather from, tropical updates, but Florida and Alabama, I think Louisiana, Georgia, not sure about Mississippi, but those states were going to be affected, probably South Carolina, but as it moves on across the state, so it's around 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30, I didn't really check the time. And so now outside is calm, just a little bit of a breeze, and the rain has subsided, so I don't know if we'll get more rain bands. They said on until 12 o'clock as it moves across the state. So if you have any relatives, I'm just giving you that little update so that you would know. And if you, been to Florida, have friends in Florida. So thought that would be something that you would appreciate knowing. So what I'm going to do is start with is, so the quilt block size. Alright, I was trying to do that, and then okay, so 8 inches, okay, 8 by 8 square. So you're going to have an 8 by 8 square, and that's a perfect little size for a mug rug. So here's my water, so mug, anything you can see. Perfect size, and you could put a little dessert plate here, your teacup and saucer, so you have plenty of room. But basically it's for a mug rug. Now if you just wanted to make a quilt or a wall hanging decoration and use this as your center for the block, and then the rest of it, fill in around it to make it a little bit bigger, then you could do something like that. But this is mainly a mug rug tutorial. And okay, so if I can get my needle threader going here. And I don't know what size embroidery needle this is. It came in a set with other needles, and so all I can do is show you here the length here. So I would say that's probably about 1/2 inch. And so I have 2 strands of the floss, and I just use your regular embroidery floss. This brand here, which I picked this up, okay, the DMC So yeah, there's okay. So, and the numbers, I pull off the little tags, and so this color is not the color that I'm using, and I don't have the little number to tell you what the number was anymore because I pull them off. And then, as you can see, I made some little cute holders out of a butterfly template that I have, and you can get this free template if you sign up for my mailing list. So I already did a running stitch all around the edges here, and a running stitch all around the edges here. So that's a basic embroidery stitch, is your running stitch. And I've been going over the basic stitches so that people can see this. A satin stitch is where it's all filled in real close together, and then your seed stitch is just like if you were to drop some pile of seeds. And so you just little short stitches, random, it doesn't matter any kind of an order. The running stitch, as you can see here, is just spacing in between. A back stitch, a split stitch, a stem stitch, French knots, and a chain stitch, and a feather stitch. So I showed you these stitches yesterday's video, but today I will actually go through these one by one. And since I have my fan on, I'm going to have to weigh that down. And so then I'll show you. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to do a basic applique stitch now all around to anchor the edge of this down. And I like to use my embroidery hoop because it gives you the tautness that you need. So I'm just going to go in the back here, and I'll start here as close as I can. And I'm going to go right on the outside of the edge of this fabric. And then I'm just going to go in probably 1/8 of an inch and just catch a little bit of that fabric. And there's, of course, numerous different ways of appliquing something in place, but this is what I do. And then, as you can see, the thread that I chose is the same color, so it's going to blend it in really good. So you just keep going right at the edge, the outside edge, and then you just catch, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch. So this is your basic applique stitch. So this one is really simple to do, and I have a cotton batting on the back of this. It's very thin, probably about 1/8 of an inch as well. And I will try to use these lines on the fabric as my guide to know my spacing for the stitches so that I get it looking a little bit uniform here. But again, you don't have to get out the ruler and start worrying about, you know, how far your stitches are apart. Just eye it more or less, do the best you can. So this is your basic applique stitch again. 2 strands of the floss. You can do it in the matching color, or you can do it in a color that would be on the opposite of the color wheel. And the reason why I chose this background was because I wanted this to really stand out. And this red here is just in the red family, so again, you don't have to be, you know, exact matching everything when you're doing your quilting. So as you can see, the colors that they put together here, and then what we picked out here. So this kind of has like a snowflake kind of look, and this kind of has a medallion type of a pattern. Alright, so now all I have to do is move my hoop up. So that will give me where I can come around. And I don't lock it back into place because it keeps it, because of the batting. If you just had fabric, then you would want to lock it into place. But once you put the batting, then that's going to make it tight enough where you're not going to have to worry about it popping off on you. And hand stitching is very relaxing. Next thing you know, whatever was bothering you, or, you know, whatever, stressing you, like going through a tropical storm. If you can do handwork, even if it's in your coloring book, or if you're an artist, but just to do something to distract the mind is what you need to do. So any kind of handwork is going to do that. And this is a decorative stitch that I did on my sewing machine. Again, many moons ago, and I know this little block was done over 20 years ago. So the quilt block my daughter did, like I said, 10 to 12 years, but I know this one because how I know I can gauge things is before Lyme disease and after Lyme disease. So I've had Lyme disease since December 2004, and this I made before that. So my memory did come back. And I hope everyone watching is doing well, and everyone who joins my little community and subscribes. Please know that I am very concerned about you, and, you know, would like you to feel like you have someone you can share how things are going in your life, because I do genuinely care about people. I do a lot of volunteer work in the community, and I share a lot of encouraging Bible information and scriptures. So I have been doing this for about 40 some years. So always feel free to let me know how you're doing. Okay, now to just lock this up in the back. Now, if you have enough of the floss left that you can make a knot, you can go ahead and do that. But again, what I love about embroidery as well is you can just run your floss through several of your stitches in the back, and that's all you need to do, and it's going to hold it into place. Because this isn't going to be worn, it's just going to be used decoratively. Now, if it was a quilt for a bed, I would lock all the stitches, but since it's just going to be decorative purposes, and the mug rug, you know, it's not going to be roughly handled all the time. Okay, so let me get... Okay, where's the end of this thing? Okay, I have another piece. Alright, so here's what the floss looks like when you get it. So there's 6 strands, and now all you have to do is start pulling them apart, and then when I get 2, sometimes I'll do 3, like if I'm doing a cross stitch. Sometimes I will do 3, but most of the time you only need to do 2. I really have never done a project that called for you to need more than 2. Alright, it's wanting to give me a hard time right there. Let me see. Yeah, there's only 2, so there's only 4, but for some reason it's wanting to bunch up. Now this is the aggravating part about using this material, I must say, is it does knot up on you easily. Alright, so let's go to the other end. I'm just going to cut that off. Solves that problem. Okay, let's go down here and take it apart. Again, now we know there's 4. So 2 and 2. Okay, here we go. This is better. Now what I do is when it starts to, so you got to become very ambidextrous when you do this. And I've always had an ability, so I started crocheting when I was 10 years old. 8 to 10, somewhere around there. I know I was very young. My great aunt taught me. And so I'm assuming that must be where I picked that up at a young age. Okay, so now just you want to run your hand down it several times. I just roll it around my finger and knot it, and that just comes with practice. And your fingers need to be a little bit moist. So if your hands are very dry, then it's not going to be easy to do it that way. But if your hands are a little bit moist, and apparently mine are because I've got the ceiling fan going, so I must be a little bit warm. Okay, now, so I'm going to continue around this edge with this running stitch. And I do want to show you, let's see. Okay, a running stitch, which is just this right here. So running stitch is just going under your, and just weaving it under like this. So I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to run it through. But if I were to come here and then bring my needle down, I'm not going to go here. What am I doing going underneath there? Okay, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this. And then you were to pull it through, but you see how you see the spacing. There's your needle, space the fabric, your needle, pull it. That would be your running stitch. And of course you'd want to start with your knot underneath and then pull it and then start doing that. Okay, so I need to come back underneath here with my floss and the needle. Okay, so we're going to space it out. Look at where this, get up right there at the edge. So I want my knot to be on the bottom. Okay, we're going to catch it right here. Alright, so I'm trying to think what stitch I could show you. Somehow it got caught over here, so now I've got this whole long piece. Alright, so let's just trim that off. Okay. And I like to show you all the things that could happen, because if it happens to me, it's going to happen to you. So, because there's nothing that I'm doing wrong, it's just the nature of the floss. It tends to want to twist and wrap around itself. So what I usually do is I hold it up like, of course, the needle. I usually hold my project up and then let the needle twirl and spin, and it'll undo that twisting that it wants to do. And I said I was going to show you how to make your own needle threader, because these things break really easily. So like if you're trying to get a thick thread through a narrow needle eye, you can pull these out, because this end is broken already. And these are not cheap, they're expensive little boogers. So I get very upset when that happens. So my husband, who is just a genius at coming up with solutions, alternative solutions. Ouch! And you think, goodness, that's not a sharp needle, because, ooh, just poked my little finger. So he, I would classify my husband as an inventor. He is in the inventor mode realm of what I would classify him. So he can look at a piece of equipment that costs thousands of dollars, and he can make a new working piece for just a couple $100. So just depending on what it is and the materials that you need. So he used to be in screen printing, and he would do that for the owner of the company. So he saved the owner thousands of dollars making alternative solution, so the man wouldn't have to spend the thousands of dollars, and he knows how to repair engines and machines. He's actually a licensed airplane mechanic. So he, like if my sewing machines break down, so I will be bringing him on my channel eventually. So you will get to meet him. His name's Raphael, and he's from Bogota, Colombia. And so he helps me. He knows how to sew. His sister, one of his sisters, came from a family of 8, 3 girls and 5 boys. And one of his sisters was a professional seamstress by trade. So he learned how to sew because he would help her. So he knows all the parts of the sewing machine, and in screen printing, they sew the banners. You've seen the banners, you know, and they have the grommets and all that. So he learned to sew, you know, professionally as well because of having, with his work in the printing industry, he would, you know, sew on a commercial machine. So we have a commercial machine that was gifted to us, and so back when the pandemic started and face masks were in high demand, and my husband was not able to go to work. We were on the lockdown, like everybody else, and so he does remodeling for a living, and we had no income, so we didn't qualify for the unemployment because he being self-employed. Anyway, so we have a commercial machine, so now he can sew leather or anything that we would need that's in a heavy-duty realm. Very, you know, thick layers of things, and so he can help me. So he's going to come on, and he actually knows the sewing machine much better than I do. So he's going to give us some tutorials on all the sewing machine parts, and when this happens or that happens, this is how you fix it, and when something jams up, then I am going to record it as he is fixing it, so that then you can see and you can get ideas of how you can fix problems yourself, and that will save you hundreds of dollars of having to take your machine and having somebody fix it if you can do it yourself. So stay tuned for that. So if you would like to learn how to do these things yourself and come up with ingenious ideas like making your own needle threader and save yourself money on those, so I will show you how to do that. So please subscribe to my channel if you would like to learn all of these DIY little tips and tricks that other people do not know how to do. Okay, so we're coming down to the end of this side. Alright, and I'm wondering what is my time on the recording, because I only can do 30 minutes. And it tried to get me a little knot right here. It cannot mess up on me. Not at this stage of the game. Alright. You just have to be very patient with this stuff. See? And again, my husband is an expert at getting knots out because they used to fly kites in Colombia. Where and how, I think it must have been in the country, because you're not going to fly a kite in Bogota, I can tell you that. So they did have a farm. So they had their house in Bogota, and then they had the farm. And so I think that's probably the area that they went to fly the kites. Alrighty. Oh, and so my point is the kite strings get knotted up a lot. Alright, you see how this is wanting to curl? You see how that happens? Okay, so just turn it upside down. Hopefully the needle won't fall out on me again. Okay, and then it twists, and then that's when you can get a lot of that knotting to stop. So they became proficient at getting knots out of the kite string. So like when my yarn gets all knotted, you know, you put it in the basket and it went in fine. But when it's in the basket for years or whoever knows how long before you get the project out again, you get it out, and my goodness, it's in a wadded mess. So he would sit there and patiently take all the knots out for me, and then I'd say, how did you do that? So I have learned a lot of patience being married to this man. So it's been a very wonderful relationship. Excuse me. Okay, almost done here. So just the applique stitch. So this is applique stitch. So lesson 1, how to do an applique stitch. Okay, using your basic quilting embroidery needle and your basic DMC embroidery floss, 2 strands, a wood embroidery hoop, I don't have a lot of strength in my hands to hold things anymore and to push things like this, so that's why it struggles, and I struggle, and it takes me a little bit longer, but I appreciate your patience and understanding. I find that there's a lot of people out there, but you know, this kind of work is excellent though for those of us who have dexterity problems or arthritis, whatever, you know, joint issues. And so it actually strengthens your hands to do this kind of work. Yes, it will make your hands ache as well, but it's good. You need to keep doing that. Okay, so we're going to move the little hoop down again. And you can see the spacing that I do. So you want to keep your area that you're going to be working on, you know, open. So you want to come in at least an inch from the hoop, because your needle underneath is going to hit this if you don't. So you see the spacing that I have. So when I get down to this corner, you see it's going to be less because I have the size of the block that I'm doing it with. But that's okay. Alright, I'll need one more strand. I can see by the amount I have left. And so what I'm doing is I'll just pull this tail a little shorter, hold it tight here, and then that allows me to have a little bit more room. And now I can flip it around and then just go under here. I can do that a couple of times. I'm catching the batting. Alright, and then now just pull the needle out. So you see, that's what I'm talking about. You don't have to knot it every time. Okay, so last but not least, okay, and hopefully, let me check the time, because if I don't want it to end abruptly. I like to have a conclusion, you know what I'm saying? Okay, 27 minutes. All right, so I may have 3 minutes. I have 3 minutes to get this threaded and to see if I can, but I will give it a conclusion now, so that if it cuts me off, then it won't get chopped off in the middle of me saying goodbye. So thank you so much for being here, and if you like learning from me and you want to help me grow my little channel, I would be just very happy to have you here, and by you subscribing, that lets me know that yes, people like this, and continue to make videos for you like this for beginners and intermediate. And I will be doing a giveaway when I reach 200 subscribers, and I'll be giving 2 people a $10 credit to use in either one of my Etsy shops. And the details on that will be coming once we reach it. So we're at 185 as of this video today, which is what, November 10th or 11th, and I think today's the 11th. So anyway, so probably definitely by the end of before the end of the month, we'll be doing the giveaway. So please share with your friends, share using the little share button, and you can share to social media, any of your social media, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and then help me to get more subscribers, and we'll get there faster. And then I will do the giveaway that much quicker. And please feel free to like the video. That helps me get found more too in search, and leaving comments helps me get found in search. But it also lets me know to continue to make videos like this. So please, just, don't be shy. And thank you so much again for being here and taking the time out to spend some time here at Markets of Sunshine. So have a beautiful and sunshiny day, and stay safe wherever you are in your part of the world. Bye-bye.